Tradition. You can't buy it. It's earned the hard way over decades and eras. On the field, on the road, in the mud. With guts and with grit, and firm belief that today could be our day. The Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup is back. Still alive, still kicking, the oldest prize in American soccer. 96 teams, part-timers to major leaguers. Survive and move on, lose, and you go home. So we call all underdogs dreamers and believers. And we ask you again one simple question. Are you up for the cup?
And we are up for the cup from the City of Angels outside of downtown Los Angeles. Come to Carson, California, and the Dignity Health Sports Park Track and Field Stadium. Ventura County FC, the artist formerly known as Los Dos, take on the challenger from the championship, El Paso Locomotive. It's the next pro side of the third division, the championship side from the second division. Mike Watts, Jamie Watson, the man for all divisions. And here's our matchup here. Ventura County, for a long time, was in the championship, as LA Galaxy too. They're not an unfamiliar quantity.
No, they're not, and there's a vast experience amongst this group on the younger side, but still a group that's hungry to prove themselves, and this is the perfect round to do it. And El Paso Locomotive under Wilmer Cabrera, they're a team that is always understanding of the occasion and how to play the occasion. So expect for El Paso, if they get up on the lead, to understand how to be able to see this match out and be professional in their approach.
Well, Ventura County filled with young professionals, and they made Laguna United look like the amateurs that they are. 7-0, biggest result of the first round.
Exactly what Ventura County should be doing, and at home, they were the team that was on the front foot. They took their opportunities, got a bit fortuitous in the first goal and the own goal, but nonetheless, they did the job. They were professional about it, and much the same could be said about El Paso at home. They did a good job, a 5-1 convincing win against Harpos FC. El Paso did a good job from set pieces of making their dominance from set piece really be a key turning point in this match with some timely goals. Look for El Paso to try to replicate that performance tonight against Ventura County FC on the road.
Already we've had cup sets tonight, and here is the Ventura County side hoping to do just that. Notably in goal is the long-awaited return for JT Marcinkowski.
The former San Jose Earthquake man found himself on the outside looking in after Danielle takes the #1 role there. So Marcinkowski now looking to kickstart his career again after having a lot of success in Major League Soccer. This is a test of adversity. This is a moment where he needs to step up, be a leader from the back, and if he does, it should be a good night for Ventura County.
And so here we go tonight in Carson. Ball came all the way back. It is Ventura County in the white. Marcinkowski, the goalkeeper, to our left. El Paso in the road blues this evening. Notably, they have left a number of key players at home, including more than half their starting lineup from their 2-1 win at Hartford over the weekend. Goalkeeper Jamali Waite, Ortiz, Diaz, DeRoma, Romero, Moreno, and super sub Frank Lopez, the former Galaxy player, all back in El Paso. That's a big swing from Wilmer Cabrera. It's a lot of trust in these guys to get a job done. It's also a recognition that if you're going to make a deep run in the Open Cup of any capacity, you have to find a way to weather out some of these early games.
It's a fine line of crazy and genius, right? If it works out, he's a genius. Ventura County only take it to El Paso. It may look a bit crazy to leave so many key components at home. Still only 4 games into the USL Championship season for El Paso Locomotive, so there has to be a thought process. Wilmer Cabrera, I think, has earned that trust that there is a method to the madness. But there definitely was some eyebrows raised when we saw the initial group and who was in, and more importantly, who was out.
Notably, Dolenmeyer, Alfaro, and Carter not part of the group that went to Hartford on the weekend. Do the math for just a moment. You go from El Paso to Hartford, back to El Paso, out to LA. You're easily cranking 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 miles in the air if you play in both games in a 5-day span. It's a big ask. So surely that plays a large role in the decision-making. Back from Kashevsky, Magana gets his first appearance with Los Tos this year.
By no means take away from everything that you said. That is very important to take into consideration in the season, but also this is a winnable match for El Paso, even though they're on the road against the MLS Next Pro side. So it's a lot of miles, but it's still also very early on in the season. So we'll trust Wilmer Cabrera in this one and see how it all plays out in the end. Certainly be a talking point one way or another.
Acela Senge to toss in for Ventura County. 2 wins and a loss through 3 games in the MLS Next Pro season. Most recent performance, a win over Houston. Luis Mueller scoring a lone goal right before the hour mark in that game. Musto. Quezada chases it down. Notably, LAFC 2 went out of the tournament last night after a similarly dominant opening performance. And so Ventura County trying to one-up their local rival. It's worth noting they could not have played in the 3rd round because every team that goes through now is required to face one of the teams that is entering in the 3rd round, which is to say a playoff team from last year's championship season. Then the following week, following round, 4th round, they'll do the same with the 16 entrants from MLS. Ball knocked back to Mora. Second start for him. Started away to New Mexico 2 weeks ago. Fell 1-0. Lopped outside. Service across, diving header kept it from Karani. Got his first call into the first team for Galaxy in a Champions Cup match in the round of 16 against Herediano, the big Costa Rican clubs. So we're on all the way down to Mora. Jamie, you've been in these games, right? You're the young team, plucky, hoping to make an impact against a team of longtime pros. This is a moment where you can impress upon the top of the Galaxy organization, but even if you don't land here in the long run, organizations elsewhere, what you can do.
Absolutely, without a doubt. Greg Vanny will be watching.
Not the least of which reasons his son is playing tonight.
That could be a big one too. I thought it would be for the commentary and for the jokes, but
I promise that's not it.
A close second, probably a 1B. Nonetheless, I digress. Back to the point you're making, which is a very astute one, right? This is an opportunity for the USL Championship side players to be able to impress. Now, how do you do that? It's one, understanding what the team wants to do collectively and then playing your part within it. But then when the moments to be able to shine and to be able to express yourself and to be able to show what you can do in individual moments when the game calls for it, it's taking those opportunities. And so I look forward to watching the Locomotive players try to make sure that they maintain what Cabrera wants to achieve tonight, but also when the time comes, have the confidence to be able to go at some of these players for Ventura County FC.
Coronado. Steered away by Bucknor, former Inter Miami Academy player who landed at Michigan, first-round pick this year, and a TikTok celebrity, although not the biggest TikTok celebrity on his own roster. 230,000 followers there. Here's Torres. Laces a ball across. Not a bad idea for Moshabon to run onto.
Good little skill from Torres, just understanding the moment and quick decision, decisive to be able to play it across. And Moshabon needs to try to win that race to the near post. It's well defended in the end.
We welcome those of you watching on YouTube and hope you join us in the chat throughout the game, especially Josiah. Happy to have you along tonight before the coverage in the third round moves to CBS Sports platforms. Corner for El Paso. Taking short, tussling for space. Ruiz. Hold back to Mora. Lamar. Former third-round pick for LAFC. Off the head of Magana. Torres. Stymied by Asenge.
That's really well done from Asenge. Initially was a step behind, but recovered well, and then used his body to use the positioning to be able to win the 1v1 battle. There's a little moments. That's going to be a good battle to watch. Torres and Asenge on this near side.
Ventura County, one of the few MLS Next Pro sides that's actually competed in the Open Cup prior to the rule changes of the last couple of years. They were ineligible as a reserve team to the Galaxy from 2016 until 2023. They competed in 2014, reached the third round, and 2015 out in the second round against Ventura County Fusion, which is very much a different club. And then returned to the tournament last year and lost to Irvine Zeta in the second round after beating Zeta 2 in the first. Turn to Coronado. Maybe room to have a go at this. Blasted well wide of the post. Marcinkowski back after multi-ligament right knee surgery in November of 2023.
That's a dangerous ball. It's going to put Asenge in trouble, even if it gets there. So Asenge is now having to scramble. Everybody is disoriented, and that's just a poor giveaway. At this level, that can't happen, and it's an effort that is speculative, but also one of those chances that can be done without. You don't need to concede opportunities and just give chances away to your opponent.
Musto. That's a foul. And a card, yes. Tony Alfaro.
Yeah, Alfaro just coming in from behind. It's endangering the player safety. It's just a challenge. It doesn't need to be made in that moment. It's reckless, and now we sit inside the first 12 minutes of this match, and the center back is already on a yellow. If I'm Karani, I'm immediately running more and more at Alfaro, who has a ton of experience, but has to know better in this moment. That's not the place to take a yellow card.
Well, Alfaro's now played in 5 games this year and racked up 3 cards. Last year he had 11 and 24. He will be suspended at some point. The real degenerates are guessing when. In behind for the much maligned Alfaro. A little bit late getting to that. Pushed ahead by Dylan Vanny. Rindolph walked on at Maryland and parlayed that into 2 years at Sporting Kansas City too, and now into the Galaxy organization. Calvillo intervened.
So when Mueller went to play the ball long, El Paso player stepped in front, so Mueller, as he's striking to play the long ball, watch his left foot. Mueller's getting ready to go. It's the step in front, the right foot. So now Mueller just sort of catches it with his ankle unlocked right before he goes to hit it. That's a painful one. It's a subtle one, but sort of has that reverberating effect in your ankle.
See the 24-year-old German trying to hobble this off.
I like Mueller as a player. He is one that can create. He's got a ton of technical ability. Whoops. Mora. Made that a bit more exciting than needed. Well, Mueller is a player that when he gets into space, he can pick the right pass, and he can pass anywhere on this park.
Carter chasing. Magana dealt with it. Coronado. Support wide. The winner will find out tomorrow, 1 o'clock Eastern, who they'll see in the 3rd round. It'll be one of the new entrants to the competition from the championship. 1 Eastern on CBS Sports Golazo Network for the draw. One person we know either way has no vested interest is Sasha Kleshtin after being sent off for dissent on the bench tonight with Des Moines.
And one thing you can count on, though, is it will be great commentary on MLS 360 now because of it.
Yes. Options in the penalty area. That ricochets off the player.
There's a conversation happening. Let's see, as this ball gets played, what a fantastic line-breaking pass. Skips out 8 players. As this gets played across, the hands up in the air. Watch this. Ooh, keep in mind, no video review, no video assistant referees in this Open Cup 2nd round. So on another occasion in another competition, I believe we'd have been seeing a recommendation for a review, but nonetheless, just a corner.
Corner for El Paso. Whipped in, Dolenmeyer, the target, was coming across the face of the defender. Magana was able to push it out. Ruiz. It's down by Torres. And another corner to El Paso.
Mind El Paso in round 1 were able to score multiple times from corner kicks against Harpo's FC. Admittedly, stiffer competition tonight, but nonetheless, the likes of Dolenmeyer is always a target. Number 15, he's sitting right on the penalty spot right now. But he's fighting for position.
Corner in, bounces across and gets off Carter. Lamar may have gotten the magic touch. Either way, El Paso has the lead.
Set pieces were what got El Paso through the first round, and it's much the same for this one. I think it's going to be Rindolph in the end that unfortunately turns it in. If he gets the slightest touch, either way, it was already headed in. An impossible task to clear it off the line. It's a near post run. It's got to be better defensively to make sure that the player for El Paso cannot get across the face of goal. That happens. El Paso was in the advantageous position from there, and nothing that can happen much from there in the way of Rindolph clearing it. 1-0 to the visitors.
Well, I think it may have been Alfaro who got that initial touch. Watch 5. Glancing blow. And then 2 players go swinging at it, including Rindolph. And El Paso has the lead.
Yeah, that look was a great one from our camera crew. That'd be incredibly harsh to give it to Rindolph. Alfaro did a really good job of winning that initial header. It was headed in anyway, so if Rindolph does get the touch, it was already on target. It was probably already over the line anyway, so Alfaro and Ventura's first 18 minutes booking for a tackle from behind and a goal.
And I'll say this, I had a lot of doubts about that El Paso lineup when it came through. They've been up for it. This is one way to make sure your manager has to sit there and think about it next time he makes an 11.
Without a doubt. Look, it's a decision that Wilma Guerrero would have ultimately probably lost sleep over at night, making sure it was the right one and having some doubts over, but nonetheless the players inside the first 18 minutes have shown more than capable and have made the manager look like a genius so far.
To reiterate, starters from the last game: Moreno, Romero, DeRoma, Diaz, and Ortiz, along with goalkeeper Jamali Waite. Not available for selection. Frank Lopez isn't either. So El Paso shuffled the deck heavily with cross-country travel from their last game in Hartford here to the greater Los Angeles area. Land on a lineup that has grabbed the lead inside 20 minutes. Dolenmeyer snuck by Carter.
This is really good pressure from El Paso. It's forcing Ventura to have to play long, and second ball so far been going to El Paso. Here's one of the rare opportunities.
Player went down. Referee allows it to continue. That was Bucknor who came down on the near sideline.
Coronado was the player that fouled him off the ball. We'll see if there's any repercussions at the end of this. Looks though he's going to get away with it.
Marcinkowski. Overcooked for Mueller. For those waiting to see a close-up of Keith Costigan, this Ventura County FC as opposed to Ventura County Fusion, just Keith's team, was ousted in the last round. Rebranded from LA Galaxy to the beginning of last year. Under the management of Matt Taylor, who played for the amateur Hollywood United back in the 08 Open Cup and shocked his former team Prior to that, the USL Portland Timbers. One of the better cup sets that late 2000s era. The Cal Uniteds of the world. Calvillo. Torres. Cleared by Vanny. Pirani front running. There was a time, 2015, Galaxy 2 made the championship final. A number of those players, along with Kurt Anolfo, ended up in the first team for quite some time. Daniel Steris is among the names who's part of that team that ended up really standing out in MLS for a number of years.
Yes, and they're still doing it. He's done it at a very high level for a long time. At Hollywood United side, that was not a name I thought I was going to hear today when I woke up. Remember Giles Marini, the star from Sex and the City, he was a part of the team in the build-up. Yeah, during the just before that 08 era with Matty Taylor, and Matty Taylor also with Chivas USA. I mean, there were some names on that list. A couple members of the Sex Pistols as well.
Buckner. Buckner continues, sends it across. He just slalomed through two players.
Incredible agility from Buckner as he's going between two defenders and just able to keep his feet and his balance.
My man, I cannot wait for you to share that on TikTok. I'm so happy for you.
Content, content, content.
Adair El Jandawi is on the bench with his 4 million TikTok followers, which is 4 million more than Jamie. Service here, wiped away by Marcinkowski. He's more the vlogging type as opposed to this new piece of content that Buckner just created that's a little more his-ish.
I mean, this is just one player saying, I'm more athletic than you two, and just understanding they were going to overcommit. He cuts through him, puts him in a spin cycle, and if this gets finished off, it's getting all the double taps.
Two wrongs made a right, apparently. Ricky Ruiz. El Paso last year, moving on from their previous manager and bringing in Wilmer Cabrera. Brian Clairhout out in May. And in the 10 months since, it has been a total reboot. The El Paso roster, they had one of the busiest summer transfer windows in recent championship history. Still, they fell short of the postseason. Side that's been to the playoffs 4 times in 6 years in the second division. And when they first came into the league, multiple trips to the Western Conference final. You know, I remember talking to Wilmer when he first took the job into that massive transfer window that they had. And he described at the time intangibles that he hadn't seen in the group yet. He said, you can work in practice, but what matters is games. We've shown we're a little bit of the opposite. Mentally weak from the results. The tendency is to go too low after falling behind, suffering a goal. Comes Buckner. He unloads! Oh, really good look. This is a corner.
Buckner had one thought in mind when he got isolated 1v1. It was always going to be about how does he create the angle to get the shot off. The good deception. To the credit, that is really good defending from Torres to stay step for step. Buckner is actually going away too, so it increases the degree of difficulty.
Corner lofted across, and the header held on the line by Mora.
We saw at the other end, it's the near post run. This one, because it's the outswinging nature, it's difficult to be able to get enough power on it, so it's going to need a secondary touch to get beyond Mora. But both teams have shown the other team has a bit of a weakness on corner kicks at the near post. So I'm just keep an eye on now on set pieces as the half and the rest of this match unfold.
It's the venue adjacent to the MLS stadium. Track and field stadium, part of Dignity Health Sports Park. Big diagonal, that's well done by El Paso. Carter's waiting centrally. Stabbed out, overlap was there. Carter, well, he could have had a go at the goal, he couldn't get turned. Dollenmeyer came up to backstop.
That switch has been devastating so far. It's twice now. There's a real vulnerability right now for Ventura County to be able to get back and cover in those wide areas. El Paso are doing a good job of exposing that space.
Ruiz. Wilmer Cabrera last year said he didn't pick the ingredients, was asked to cook when he first came in. He went out and shopped for himself over the summer, continued in the winter months. Number of players that he coached at Rio Grande Valley prior to them folding. And has built a team that thus far in the league has 5 points through 4 games in the championship. Corner coming for El Paso. Marcinkowski went for it, couldn't get there, and it's slashed home. El Paso double their money inside half an hour.
Keep an eye on Marcinkowski. He's going to get impeded somehow. There's no foul in this play, and it's absolutely a foul that doesn't get called. Marcinkowski gets bumped by an El Paso player. But nonetheless, our referee, Steven Cardozo, does not give it. Ventura County can't believe it. And neither can El Paso. They're 2 goals to the good inside 30 minutes. And it's a brace for Alfaro.
Scores in the 17th, now the 30th. And Alfaro, the former Sounder and Chivas player, not of the USA variety, has put Ventura County to the sword.
El Paso Locomotive FC goal scored in the 30th minute of play. The goal scored by
Truth of the matter, if you are a championship side, you should dominate set pieces. More often than not, Tony Alfaro is 31 years old. This is a really young Ventura County side. And he looked it, even if Marcinkowski is unfortunate to get bumped the way he did. Yellow card given. And that's not one for Bucknor's Instagram.
Here's the foul. I think it was for Buckner as he's coming by. He's upset about the challenge that didn't go the throw in the other way, and it was the reaction. It's going to get him the booking, but to your point, it's the experience in these moments, and this is where the young players on the next MLS Next Pro side are going to gain experience in these moments. It's a bit of adversity, and now it's another set piece opportunity. El Paso trying to approach it in a different manner this way.
Del Vio. Alfaro, noted goal scorer. Well, I think I've seen enough of the chat tonight. Once in a while, you just see something where you're like, nah, I'm good. I've hit that point. I'll let them decide.
Oh.
Trouble given away. Chasing in. Keeper's back. And this wide in the end from Vanny.
Vanny was put in a difficult spot here. This is a poor back pass, and as this is one, Karani has to be able to be decisive here. Okay, the shot's not on, that's fine, but he's waiting, and he's absolutely just taken all the time that Vanny had. If he's gonna lay it off, he's gotta make that decision quicker or bypass Vanny for someone at the top of the box.
Appeals everywhere for a foul on Carter. Players go down again, not getting that call. Shevsky.
Oh, Buckner's already on a yellow, and there he goes.
Out. Buckner's night is done. That card came out instantly.
It's about to go from bad to worse for Ventura County FC. So here's the shout. Buckner does get pulled. The ball's in the air. Look, if it's pointed to the spot, I don't think there's much complaints. The decision's made to not happen. Now watch Buckner as he's going to go into this challenge. On a yellow card, you cannot make this challenge. Absolutely steps on the ankle. That is a nasty challenge on Torres. Buckner, he picked up the yellow for a bit of petulance a moment ago when he was upset the call didn't go his way, and now Buckner, when he gets up after he receives treatment, will be greeted with the second yellow and a subsequent red card.
Referee just pulled the second card out of his pocket, so it'll be insult to injury whenever he does get up. He had that brilliant bit of play up near the end line a moment ago. But it turns out that's going to be the high point of his night.
So watch the reaction for Buckner. This was after a 50-50 challenge didn't go his way for a throw-in call. It was the emotional display. It was then something else that he said, and
you can disagree with whether or not that deserved a yellow. You can't disagree once you're on a yellow that you can't make this challenge.
Watch the right foot of Torres. Watch this. It's going to go over, and that rolls. It's the full force. It's a nasty challenge. There won't be one complaint about this one. Buckner sees this replay and realizes he was incredibly late, endangered the player's safety. It's as straightforward of a yellow card as you could get.
And there's the tactical nature of it too. There's the yellow and there's the red. He's off. So Ventura County is down 2 goals and now down a man. Well, if there's any upside in theory, you don't need to make a change here. That's a player up front where you can sort of morph without him. We'll see if that's the route they decide to go. But down 2 goals, you can't afford to wait all that long.
Buckner's been disqualified from the match on yellow card accumulation.
Well, Paso, they've scored 8, they've conceded 8, they've played in a 4-4 game this year. Ventura County had just ridden that out a little bit longer. They've had a couple explosive moments upfield where you can go steal one before halftime, and all of a sudden this feels totally within reach. And now down a man. It's a completely different argument.
And now that decision from Wilmer Cabrera to leave 5 starters at home.
Yep.
Seems even better of his decision. If the feet weren't up for those 5 players before the 36th minute, 2-0 up. Now 2-0 up and up a player. Those players are enjoying a night off and some much needed rest before a lot of travel. And Ventura are going to have to figure out a way to be able to try to threaten him behind. They do have a player in Karani who can threaten with speed, but it's going to be difficult in these moments to have the build-up because El Paso, who are already pressing and swarming and clogging the middle of the field, now the internal motivation is there when you have an extra player to go and press again and even more because there's less options for your opponent to try to find down a player.
Senge pushed back by Torres. Karani. Touch let him down. Here's Vanny. Senge. Stab back by Carter. And now over the top. Carter sprinting ahead. Moshaban, who played in Southern California with San Diego Loyal in their championship days, sees this prodded out.
This is your reward for your 2 goals early on before the red card. If you El Paso, make the field as big as possible, let the ball do the work, and make Ventura County chase. There's nothing more demoralizing when you're down at home, down a player, and you can't even touch the ball.
Ruiz. Got away from Carter.
Might make his TikTok. Might make his TikTok. That's easy for me to say, huh?
You're doing great. What day is it? Where are we? Dolomire. Just did get through for Coronado. Cal State Fullerton kid. A couple years at RGV, then OKC, went back to RGV, now El Paso. Much of his career with Wilmer Cabrera. Ruiz dips across for Carter. Carter runs like he's angry at the ground. He just chews up yardage when he's trying to get in behind. Comes from Real España, huge club in his native Honduras. He's on loan for the season. Multiple goals in the Central American Cup. Scored against Comunicaciones, biggest club in Guatemala. Scored against Herediano, the club the Galaxy played in Champions Cup from Costa Rica. He's already featured in an under-20 World Cup and with the Honduran senior national team.
You're saying he's had a good career so far, huh?
Well, at age 21,
it's a lot to accomplish.
Pretty good place to be. Senge, Musto, appeared in the Open Cup last year with LAFC, featured in the round of 16 against Loudoun United. LAFC, of course, going on to win the title. One of the more illustrious trophies in Olivier Giroud's cabinet. Pirani, one of.
Still waiting on that first MLS goal for Olivier Giroud.
True enough.
But yeah, it's a pretty decent trophy cabinet.
Yeah.
He's just missing that MLS goal. I think he'll be all right when it's all said and done.
Galaxy organization, it's been 20 years since they've won the Open Cup. They won it in 01 and 05. Over the top for Vanny. Of course, no chance for the first team to compete. It's worth noting with Marcinkowski available, you are allowed to use the supplemental players on your MLS roster within these games if you are affiliated with an MLS club, or players that are eligible for the supplemental roster. So much like allocation money and the designated player rule and the under-22 initiative and the young designated player rule and homegrown players and discovery players, it's one of the many roster mechanisms which is acknowledged in allowing next pro teams to give opportunities to players on first team deals. Injured player down for El Paso. And that is Daniel Carter.
As Carter goes to play this, he's just going to get stepped on right there on the top of the foot. And that is the full weight being planted. Musto just trying to go in and win it. Instead, that's just a 6 studs right on the top of your foot.
Ruiz.
Your attention, please. The fourth officials indicated a minimum of 3 minutes of added time will be added to the end of the first half.
3 added minutes.
Added time will be added to the end of the first half.
Are added to the end of the first half. Just primo clarification. Tony Alfaro is the man. 17th and 30th minute, and set pieces have separated El Paso in their past 2 games. A 2-1 win in which both their goals against Hartford came off set pieces. Carter sprinting in behind. There's Marcinkowski. I'm so excited for him to get proper minutes again. Not the injury in and of itself, devastating. It's great to see him back on the field in any capacity, but just in general, young goalkeepers, it's so difficult to break in. Torres, this flutters wide. Carter waiting, there's Marcinkowski to grab it. You're talking about a guy out of Georgetown, captained the Hoyas to great heights, homegrown player at San Jose, 7 years there. He played in the Under-20 World Cup and in the CONCACAF Under-20s for the U.S. At the age of 27, just waited to get back in to that San Jose team, and it never quite worked out the last few years. I'm over the moon that he's playing in this game.
Couldn't agree more. I mean, Marcinkowski is a kid that experienced a lot of success at a young age. And I understand what that feels like. And then the hardest part is to sustain that. And so when you get knocked down, you face some adversity like an injury that he's had, you get knocked down to number 2 at your club in San Jose, and Danielle came in, and he's been the goalkeeper there for a number of years now, and so Marcinkowski now needs to change his scenery. Gets back on the field, you appreciate it a bit more, you work a little bit harder in training to try to get back and have that taste of success that you had before, and so now Marcinkowski has got to make sure that he continues to be ready for that opportunity when it presents itself, and then take it, because it could come at a moment's notice with an injury. And right now for this LA Galaxy side, there's a lot of questions about their goalkeeping situation and Mitrovic and McCarthy, and what are they going to do? Now you've got a very capable goalkeeper in Marcinkowski who's playing his trade and getting games and getting reps and confidence with Ventura County FC. Is there an opportunity that presents itself maybe later on in the year? Who knows? But Marcinkowski's job is to make sure he's ready if it does.
It's a pretty wild Galaxy goalkeeping depth chart, to your point, right? McCarthy is won MLS Cup MVP. Mitrovic is only 23, and Greg Vanny's talked about there's going to be some learning moments for a young goalkeeper getting an opportunity throughout this season. Brady Scott had big moments within the U.S. Youth National Team and is only 25. Halftime arrives and saves us from ourselves. 2 goals from Alfaro. El Paso is ahead and up a man going into halftime.
Coming into the match, we knew set pieces were going to be important for El Paso. They scored off 2 corners. Question marks about was Marcinkowski fouled on the second one. Not enough to whistle it from a referee. So having said that, Alfaro brace, and then a moment of ill-advised decision-making, 2 of them in fact, from Buckner, sees 2 quick yellows, and now Ventura County have the difficult task. Matty Taylor is going to have to go in and find the right words to say to his group, down 2 players and down a man, to try to keep their Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup hopes alive.
Well, it is halftime here at the track and field venue in Dignity Health Sports Complex. El Paso leads Ventura County 2-0. Enjoy the sprinklers, everybody. Ventura County looks like an outcast at this point.
So originally we thought this was Alfaro's goal, but as we take a look at it again, it's actually Daniel Carter who's able to chest this in over the line. So Carter gets credit for the goal 17 minutes in off of a set piece. And okay, so the response from Ventura County came through Buckner. He was able to create a little bit of magic. This one would have been something special. That's where the highlights end for Buckner. It gets worse for him in a minute. Big question mark about this one. Everybody jumps, Mosheban jumps right into Marcinkowski, and there's some contact, but no foul is called. Alfaro turns it in to make it 2-0. Now Buckner on the near side, he was upset about a call a moment earlier that didn't go his way on a throw-in for a 50-50 challenge. He gets that booking, so he's on a yellow. It's got to change the way he plays, right? Nope, it doesn't. That is a nasty challenge from behind, rolls over the ankle of Torres. The yellow card is out, and Buckner, he got a little bit some of that collision as well too, but by the time he gets up, he sees a second yellow in his face, followed by a subsequent red card, and from then on, it was a big game of keep away in possession for El Paso, where we sit at the halftime interval, 2-0 up a man, and everything is looking smooth sailing for the USL Championship side.
Well, and if that excites you, then stick around. If it doesn't, Seattle has quite the matchup going on in Tacoma and Spokane, the state of Washington, which is also available on the US Soccer YouTube page. But we'd really like you to stay here or to screen it. It's your world. We're living in it.
And you're the soundtrack for it all, Mike Watts.
Let's not use names. El Paso in the blues, ready to kick off the second half here. And with it, the conclusion of round 2 will be here in Carson, California. The draw tomorrow for the third round will be on the CBS Sports Golazo Network, which will be hosting matches throughout the rest of the tournament, starting in round 3. Ball chipped back, shot on is wide by Coronado.
Oh, this doesn't miss by much. Good expansive play, what you'd expect up a man. El Paso shift this from side to side. Watch the deft touch on this. Coronado is going to set up shop, give it a shout. Wonderful weight. Coronado gets the shape right. He just doesn't get the angle right to put it on target.
Buckner was sent off in the 34th minute. The first for dissent, the second yellow for rash challenge. So Ventura County down a man here the rest of the way. It's a different kind of test here for El Paso. Very different team than they played last week. If they concede here on the road, it could become a very long night. Being professional in this moment will save them a lot of grief. And they start the second half as they did the first. Now it's worth noting, Jamie, you'll be on the draw tomorrow. Frankly, there's not a lot of decisions that, all things relative, need to be made. There's the fact that every team that goes through into the next round has to play one of the new entrants from the championship. 16 playoff teams from last year will enter in that round. So you take away a little bit of that oddity. And then the other side, not every team that enters has an appropriate venue to host or asks to host. So in that sense, a lot will be decided. This hit from range and sent away Ruiz, denied by Marcinkowski.
There's going to be a lot of these efforts from distance as Ventura County sit in and just try to absorb pressure. There'll be plenty of time and space to shoot. That's a good save from Marcinkowski and good reactions to get up. What's your point about the draw? Very much looking forward to that tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern on the Golazo Network. Joe Malfa will be leading us alongside Commissioner of the U.S. Open Cup, David Applegate, who's been the mastermind of all of this, putting it all together. So, yeah, it'll be great. We'll be able to recap the first 2 rounds, how we've gotten to this point, what to expect in round 3 going forward, and how it all shapes up. So, a couple games finishing up. This will be the latest one, but Tacoma, Defiance, Spokane Valley, that match is going on right now as well. So, that needs to finish up. This match needs to play out how it's going to go. 2-0 up a man. There's expectations of how it should go, but it is the Open Cup. Anything can happen. So, and then everything will get set, and it'll be a late night for our friend Mr. Applegate as he gets everything set up for the draw tomorrow.
If you're a fan of Always Sunny in Philadelphia, you know the whole Pepe Sylvia concept. All the stuff strewn out on the board, a number of pieces of yarn trying to connect non-existent dots.
Yes.
These are existent dots, and he does have a lot of yarn. Trying to figure out the best groups. Make this geographically simplistic. Ball across and sweeping at it was Moshaban.
David Applegate deserves a lot of credit for all the hard work he does to put this tournament to the success it has year after year.
On the cut inside, Quesada. I don't know that Open Cup as we know it still exists without him, for that matter.
You said it. The attacks continue to exist for El Paso. This one goes a little bit wide, but to your point, it's remarkable when you think about where things were versus where they are now, sort of an updated version of the Open Cup. And now you're backed by a new 2-year deal with CBS to broadcast games. I mean, that is a real signal of intent for the tournament and the belief that CBS has in it. So starting next round, those games will be shown across the CBS family of networks.
Short corner. Sliding down Dolenmeyer, but it comes over to Vanny. Couple goals, 3 total goal contributions in the first 3 games of the year, the 17-year-old midfielder. Hartford, Lexington both going down in this round. Monterey Bay drops out to El Farolito. Birmingham out in the first round. In total, it appears that half of the championship teams that entered in the first round will not make it to the third. And then every team that made the playoffs last year in the championship earned those first 2 byes. Will jump in here in the next round. And 16 teams from MLS will jump in and face the winners of 3rd round games in the 4th round, or as colloquially can be called, the round of 32.
Spell colloquially.
Pronounce it.
You just made that word up.
Saying a spelling bee, Jamie Watson. This is a free kick to El Paso. I'm watching this, and I feel like Christian Miles and Joe Totino should be calling this game for a number of reasons.
Oh, just absolute legends in the area. Joe Totino, the voice of the LA Galaxy. Christian Miles as well for a very long time. Two wonderful human beings as well.
I've watched probably the precise amount of games from this venue over the years, commentated by those two.
I've played in enough games at this field.
Yep, I don't doubt that.
Scored an own goal on my birthday on the one and that Marcinkowski's defending now.
Which birthday was that?
21? I don't know. Celebrated too much afterwards to remember. Corner kick Two guys jumped up. I watched it. It hit me in the side of the face and went in. And I did that thing where you turn around and you're looking for the ball and it's in the net.
Torres laces that off Marcinkowski.
Watch how much venom there is in this strike. Lovely little skill to sidestep, and when Torres releases this, there's nothing Marcinkowski can do with his hands. They're at his side, and he just wears it in the chest. Like Happy Gilmore.
Cannot wait for the second coming of that movie this summer. Toffee added took some time away from mourning the Merseyside derby gone wrong to ask for a Open Cup commentator spelling bee. Congrats to Josh Eastern, the most academic of us all.
100% he's winning that. Question is, who finishes higher, you or me?
It's a draw.
Neither.
And a replay. Out of midfield from Koshevsky. Dropped off, Vanny unloads. That deflects off of Chumesi. And it's a corner.
Oh, when Vanny strikes this, he was immediately adamant. This is a fantastic run, too. Vanny's smart. He just stops. He lets everybody go forward. He calls for it. Oh, that does look like it hits the hand, but does it deflect? Does it hit the thigh first and then the arm? Or is it just the arm? I think that's a chicken wing that sticks out, and Chumasi may have just gotten away with one.
Ball driven across, leaping header back across the face, and Rindhoff did see that deflect en route, another corner toward Vanny, and Happy Gilmore away by Carter. Got to get tougher for next year's tryouts, Jamie.
364 more days till hockey trials.
That's right. It's starting to feel more like a Shorzy storyline than it is a Happy Gilmore too, but drop back by Koshevsky.
It's been a good spell from VCFC to be able to gain some territory and some opportunities going forward.
Koshevsky. Drop back to Asenge. From Rindhoff. Coronado. Tidy work got tossed aside by Vanny.
It's a close one. I don't know if there was a ton in that.
Fortunate for Dylan, of course, his dad Greg managing the team now. Then the MLS Cup, part of the earliest days of the Galaxy as a club back in '96 to '01. Went to Dallas and Colorado and DC before finishing out his career in LA. Well, Paso springing forward, another goal, really take the sting out of it. It's hit by Moshaban at Marcinkowski, and they haven't quite been able to put this away yet.
Good breakout. This is what's going to happen when Ventura County is starting to push some numbers forward and take some chances. They're going to get exposed in these 1v1 situations in the back, and even numbers. At times, there's going to be some moments where Marcinkowski is going to be relied on to make these saves.
Touched away from Vanny. Ooh, Coronado. If I've heard it once, I've heard it 1,000 times. You're a young player. It's your first time going up against grown men who are trying to feed a family. And occasionally you'll get flipped like an omelet. Such the case there.
Well, these are big moments when you're down a player. Shevsky needs to be able to give good service. There's some inviting space right in that area between the penalty spot and the top of the 6. It's got to be hit with pace, curling towards goal and on target.
Koshevsky. Contact in the box, it appeared. Back in for Vanny, offside. Appeared to be the call. Now there's a yellow card being given behind the play. We've already seen a yellow for dissent ultimately land a player in much worse position when he had a rash challenge later. That's Rindhoff.
Oh, Rindhoff just comes crashing through, and a little bit of frustration being shown. Ricky Ruiz on the end of it.
Your attention, please. Yellow card warning issued to Ventura County FC in the 60th minute of play. Yellow card warning issued to play number 64, Jose Magana Jr.
Carter sprinting through the middle. Ball never got there. There are a handful of matchups that you sort of look at in a potential third round and think we could be in for something pretty cool. Be enticed to see Columbus Crew 2 either have another go at Pittsburgh in the next round or Louisville, maybe Indy. Some really good sort of opponents in that region. El Farolito, could you see them traverse the Bay Area? Could you see them perhaps head north? Would they go see Sacramento? Not that there's any beef to be had there.
There's some mouth-watering matchups in round 3. Excited to see how it's all going to play out.
It's about 7 puns I wish we could have back. Beto Avila and Andy Cabrera coming on. Andy Wilmer's son. So the manager for El Paso is going to be lined up more or less directly against the son of the manager of the Galaxy.
It's just something that you don't see very often, and something also makes you feel slightly old. Cool moment. It's a fraternity for these coaches. It's a small circle. It's something that you or I cannot really relate to. How difficult it is to get your foot in the door, and then the harder job of staying in that door. So to be able to do that, then be able to see your children grow up and have success and make it to the professional level, and for Wilmer to get to be able to coach them, and Greg to be able to have his son inside of the organization. On the ball now.
Ooh, able to release that through and stabbed away by the keeper, Mora. They're going to bring this back. That's an obvious card. Heck of a ball played through either way.
This is an insane ball, knowing you're about to get laid into, to be committed to the task at hand and trying to play this ball through, and it's almost an inch perfect pass. That's really good from Dylan Vanny. But just to wrap that point up, it's a interesting dynamic that both of those two players.
Oh, Alfaro just got sent off. That was his second yellow. So now both teams are down to 10 men. Now that is Open Cup after dark.
Your attention, please. The head referee has issued a yellow card.
Driven forward by Rindolph.
In the 64th minute of play.
Wow, we were waiting for confirmation on who got the booking, and it was Alfaro. Going back to that yellow card he picked up in the 12th minute for a bad challenge. That is Alfaro. That is just an inexcusable challenge, just the same that Buckner cannot make the challenge he did when on the yellow. Alfaro has to know this game is essentially in the back pocket, up 2-0 and a man, and Alfaro on a yellow makes a challenge at midfield that you absolutely do not need to make.
Unreal. Well, let's see how Ventura County responds. Both down to 10. Vanny a central run. Play stymied in the width. Sidestepping a challenge from the end line. Goes back to Coronado. Shevsky's got a little edge.
I'm not shying away from any challenges tonight. Oh, everything in the last 25 minutes has just been turned on its head. And the momentum certainly will be with Ventura County, understanding that now they were looking for a way back into this match, and Alfaro making that critical mistake to level the field with 10 players apiece. Now it just gives you that momentum, that little bit of extra push to be able to try and go and chase this game even more if you're Ventura County.
Wild. Five previous meetings between these teams, and it has really only been close once. Their most recent meeting in 2022. Ball stripped free, off to the races, quaffing back and laid off. Denied Avila. Now Paso has won games in this series, 3-0 and 4-0. They have lost games in this series, 2-0 and 5-0. Let's go back to the giveaway.
This is how quickly it can happen, and that's just a mistake that Rindolph cannot make at this level. That's a mistake that should be punished. It isn't this time, but if this goes 3-0, all hope is slammed shut with that. Rindolph has to be sure of it and clear and put his foot through it.
By the way, you know, we talk about coaches' sons, but what about the fact that occasionally you've got a pro as your brother? Watch 66 at the bottom of your screen. That's Mateo Chicaris. And watch him put his head down. He is 4 players back to get in the mix on that. And I'm not saying he ultimately intervenes in the play. That's a pro move.
Absolutely. That is exactly the little intangibles, the little things that coaches look and see, because the easy option is to just not run back and just think, well, there's numbers back, we should be fine. I don't want to do the hard part of the game. That is a great sign to see.
And he is a coach's son. His dad, Sean, part of Los Gatos United. He was the technical director. Joins the Galaxy organization as a coach. Mateo joins. His brother Nico is with the Earthquakes. But it runs through the family. That's the stuff that can't be taught, and that hopefully tomorrow, regardless of result, gets a measure of praise. It certainly will here. Dolomeyer's back up. If you think this camera is far away, Dollenmeyer could actually wipe the lens. He's 6'6". I read the first press release when he showed up at LAFC out of Cal State Fullerton, and it said he's an imposing center back and he wins aerials. No kidding. I would hope so.
Yeah.
Make another Happy Gilmore reference. He'll see you in the parking lot.
Well, you can count.
Dollenmeyer, it was the hard route, to be honest. Oxnard, Cal State San Bernardino to Cal State Fullerton. Ended up getting drafted in the 3rd round. He's from Thousand Oaks, which, having done that drive, is both a suburb and also seemingly a foreign country from downtown LA. Just depends how traffic is. $20 minutes to go here. And I think we're going to have time to get in another famed TikToker. Came through Fürth and then Dusseldorf and then Hertha Berlin, all in the second teams, but a really odd and unique set of medical issues derailed the early stages of his career.
This substitution for Ventura County FC occurs in the 71st minute of play. Exit the match play number 47, Giorgio Kasevsky. Entering the match play number 74, Jindawi Nader.
Jindawi Nader coming in. $4 million TikTok followers, 2 million subs on YouTube and Instagram.
That makes more money from social media than playing.
There was an article about that fact, that it's taken a lot of the financial responsibility of playing the game off his plate, so to speak. And so while he's dealt with medical issues and managed to continue his career, leaving Germany, ultimately coming here to Los Angeles, there's sort of been a bedrock financially for them.
Yeah, a lot of pressure. You got to rise above it. You got to harness in the good energy and block out the bad. Harness that energy, block bad.
Yeah, all right.
Circular. It's like a carousel.
Well, right now, all good things.
Yeah, that's great news.
Tapped ahead by Senge. Sprinting out of the back line. It's a knock to the back of the leg of Eric Calvillo. Spent time on loan from San Jose and Orange County in 2021. Champion, the Orange County Soccer Club. Side that proudly plays at the Championship Soccer Stadium in Irvine.
They're just late with the challenge. A little bit of exuberance in that moment. Run down by Mora. Spent the last couple years in the Mexican lower divisions.
Spent time at Pumas and then ended up at Real Salt Lake's Academy in Arizona. Then south of the border to Tijuana before signing with Chattanooga Red Wolves in League One. Spending the last 2 years in Mexico again. That yo-yo has drawn him back to El Paso now. He's at Celaya most recently. Quezada. Yeah, I'm excited to see how El Paso develops through this year. I think Ray Sari, who's I think on the young side of 30 still, former player up in Seattle and then Sacramento, OKC, technical director down there alongside Wilmer Cabrera. They've got a lot of good ideas. This roster is gritty and tough. They've got more depth than they've had the last couple of years, I think. When you've got Amando Moreno running around, that doesn't hurt. He's not playing tonight, but him at full health is a pretty scary proposition. I just had a championship coach the last few days go, man, I wish I had him on my roster.
He is a player that is game-changing, and the fact that El Paso were able to rest him and a few other players, that is a welcomed fact to proceedings tonight and how everything seemed to play out.
Laid off here. They'll host Lexington, which somehow is a Western Conference opponent, on the weekend. Then they'll go to Birmingham. And here's the unfortunate thing for El Paso, right? You're going to get into the next round of this event if you can see out the next 14 plus minutes. And you're going to have the same brutal travel week potentially staring you in the face, because the next round is in 2 weeks. You'll go to Birmingham, then Open Cup if you're drawn on the road. Either way, you're going to have to go back to El Paso in the middle and then go to Colorado Springs. And then they'll go on the road the following week to Texoma in the Jägermeister Cup, which is the USL's essentially Carabao Cup, the League Cup. It runs alongside essentially the Open Cup being like an English FA Cup. Ball slipped ahead. That is brilliant. And trying to get around the keeper. Kicked away by Mora to deny Karani. And a real chance to get back into the game for Ventura County.
That's a big moment in this match. No two ways about it. If Karani's able to put that in, this goes 2-1 with 13 minutes left. Everything changes. This weight on the pass was exceptional. Watch this ball play through by Shakaris. Carefully measured. Good run from Karani. Karani wants to be able to break through, though, to the next level. Those are the moments you've got to be finishing.
Karani spent 4 years at Temple. Before he even got to college, he was already playing for the Sporting Kansas City second team, then Swope Park Rangers. Finished his collegiate career 2 years ago at UCLA, bagged 6 goals for Ventura County in 2024. Whoa, full sprint. Gonna damage Marcinkowski that way.
I mean, this is electric from Noah Dolenmeyer. When was the last time you think he touched it around one side of a player and ran around the other? At 6'6".
Oxnard College. Ball rolled centrally. He had Avila waiting. Never quite got there. Paso, a couple of draws to start the year. Colorado Springs and Phoenix at home. A loss at New Mexico, a win at Hartford last weekend. They used to have one of the best home field advantages in the championship. It had really crumbled at the start of last year. They began 0-8-2 at Southwest University Park in El Paso. They finished with only one loss in their last 7, although 3 draws in that span. Couple draws to start this year as well, but steps in the right direction toward former dominance. They played one of the more attractive possession styles under Mark Lowry, beginning of their club's history 7 years ago.
What a ball that is.
Went away from that style more toward what Brian Claerhaut had done at Sundsvall in Sweden, but ultimately, after a really hot start, all fell apart.
I think Claerhaut will find another club in this league. I think he's more than capable. Young manager, but has already had a lot of success at a young age, and I think he's just waiting. I think there's a plethora of really good managers. Another one that comes to mind, Mark Briggs.
Yeah.
Those 2 guys are big future.
Ball shuffled through by Mosheban. Avila crossing, and it's tapped home by Andy Cabrera. That should be the dagger with less than 10 minutes remaining. And Wilmer Jr. seals the deal for El Paso on the road.
Well-crafted team goal. Just the ability to break pressure. Good spacing. When Mosheban gets into space, now it's a 3v2. It's just the timeliness of it. It was close. Now Cabrera is at the end. He's just got to have the concentration to be able to stay over it. He does just that. Makes it look easy in the end, but for Cabrera, that is a big moment. Being able to get a goal in the tournament, and now you start to look at, can he start to put it together like he did over the course of time at Rio Grande, and scoring some goals there, and now he gets a goal in the Open Cup to go along with really how he's been doing and developing over the course of this season, and well-taken goal.
Ricochets back from Mueller. When you look at Andy Cabrera, it's a pretty unique and circuitous route to get back here, to playing for his dad. Now a 3rd time, was at RGV as a 17-year-old, went on to Butler, had a lot of success in the Big East. Scored 23 goals, ended up at Cartagena, went back to RGV, started 2024 in the German 4th division. Finished the year after arriving in August in El Paso. All the while, pretty unique universe that Wilmer, his dad, the current El Paso manager, was living in. Ball slipped ahead. He was one of the dozen-plus coaches in Montreal to see the guillotine over the past 10 years. But he was only there really as a caretaker and did so for 9 games. He was in Houston before that. Had had a lot of success at RGV. He was the head coach for, at a time, dead man walking Chivas USA franchise. 4 subs coming. That's Eric Preston at the bottom of your screen. Emiliano Rodriguez, 20-year-old from Juarez in Mexico. showed up for an under-20 El Paso tryout and made that team. Ultimately signed a pro deal. Here is Omar Mora, the former El Paso area high school player of the year. Scored 114 goals at Eastlake High School. Followed him for about 3 years, went to Angelina College and then Oral Roberts before landing on the squad. Calvillo comes off, former championship winner in Orange County. Yes.
Let's get it going, White.
Gabriel Arnold came in as well. That stoppage. Sarabekian off the bench. Young 20-year-old Armenian winger. So Ventura County dipping into the bench here to get some guys in late.
Well, this game, with less than 5 minutes left, 3-0. You kind of can safely predict how this is going to play out. You start to think back to that opportunity that Karani had when it was 2-0 and was played through on a breakaway. When the save happens, this match is completely different with 13 minutes to go if it goes 2-1. Well, that is a tremendous save from Mora. And if that doesn't happen, who knows how this ends up going and which way it could have played out. But what a turning point that was.
These substitutions for Ventura County FC also occurred in the 83rd minute.
All the while, Alfaro
61, Sean Karani.
spared his blushes. You'd have to imagine a little frustrated in the locker room, not the least of which one of his 2 goals has, in fact, been changed and indeed credited to a teammate, although I think he's okay with that. Carter gets a goal, his first for the club. And Alfaro gets one, too.
So now Alfaro will be thinking about the 3rd round, and as he's watching tomorrow, 1 o'clock on Golasso Network, along with his teammates, to see who and where they will be playing.
He'll be the only one that knows he can't take part.
Exactly. That's a tough pill to swallow.
The other side is, homie, you just guaranteed yourself trips to Birmingham and Colorado Springs.
100%.
Any player that gets suspended on either side of one of these 3-game weeks, you know how that ends.
Your reward, punishment, however you want to view it. That's getting games in the other competition.
Yep, those frequent flyer miles are really going to hit.
Might take your first class seat.
I don't know about that. Alfaro played with the Galaxy for a time. Mueller showing off. When Megs go wrong. Through the legs of Chumesi and out.
And Mueller just has not had the impact on the night that he would have hoped, but you have to revert back to the 36th minute when the match changed and Bucknor gets sent off. So it was always going to be difficult from then on out. Goes back to level terms with the red card in the 63rd minute for Alfaro, but nonetheless, no real impact from Mueller. Quiet night by his standards.
You know, it's funny. Mueller's the one who committed the foul that had someone in the stands yelling no, and I know it's not his dad because he would have been yelling 9, 9. see myself out figuratively and literally. We're minutes away from concluding the second round.
Just do us all a favor. Just don't do it before the final whistle, you know?
Well, I mean, I'd be doing you a favor sticking around. I think everyone else is about done. Well, you think about some of the fun results we got in this round. AV Alta, the late winner against LAFC 2, certainly stands out. South Georgia Tormenta just narrowly outlasts 4-0, whose run ends in the second round, the UPSL side. Miami FC, who some would call an underdog to the next pro side, Inter Miami 2, survive. El Farolito of the NPSL advance over Monterey Bay in this round. Loudoun United got all they could handle against Virginia Dream, but that dream is shattered. Hearts of Pine shock Hartford Athletic with a 116th minute equalizer, go through on pens. New York Pancyprian Freedoms gave Westchester a heck of a fight, finished 3-2. Red Wolves in pens knock out Chattanooga FC earlier today. We apologize for technical difficulties. 3 added minutes. Another 2 minutes to go here. Can I continue where I was at?
Yeah, please.
All right. Naples handles Little Rock, so the League Two side goes out. Here comes El Paso, perhaps looking for a fourth. Marcinkowski will handle that. Knoxville defeats Greenville, so there will be no great run there. Regrettably for all of us, Des Moines Menace is out, and Sasha Kleshin is suspended from participating in the first round next year, as he saw a red card from the bench. Union Omaha advance. And there's that pesky Tacoma Defiance. That's in extra time, so they'll finish after us. Ball laced across, sliding effort. Avila, he assisted the goal by Cabrera and nearly returned the favor. Tacoma's up on Spokane. An own goal in the 99th. Sees that in the 108th minute now. You best go check that out on the U.S. Soccer YouTube page. It's just a click away.
So a big congratulations to El Farolito. It's the NPSL team that made it the furthest in the tournament.
Get that money.
$50K. That's a lot of burritos.
It is. That's what you would spend $50,000 on if you played on the El Farolito team, more burritos.
So, I mean, it's a labor of love, soccer, work, the store, everything.
Gastrointestinal issues.
Ooh, there's a kick out.
If you're Coronado, you're thinking, really? 8 seconds remaining, and I'm going to feel that all week. That's it. We're done. Second round victory for El Paso Locomotive, and advancing to the third round by knocking out Ventura County. And they will meet a championship team to be determined tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern time on the CBS Sports Golazo Network.
Well handled from El Paso. They got the job done, 2 set pieces, much like in the first round. They do it again. They go on the road, get the job done, buoyed by an ill-advised red card. Leveled out in the second half, but ultimately they get the job done. Some big saves when they needed it, some timely goals to put things away.
We'll show you the highlights from this affair, and it's going to be a a lot of El Paso. First off, this red card certainly would change things, or yellow cards that would amount to reds. That's Alfaro's first, then the goal that's chested over by Carter.
So Alfaro's now on a yellow card, an assist to Carter, 1-0. Questions about was this a foul? I do think it was a foul, but it's turned in nonetheless by Alfaro. Goal, assist, a yellow card for Alfaro. It's been active. You're going to see Bucknor, who's irate with the decision from just a moment before that didn't go his way. He picks up the first yellow card of his evening. And then in quick succession, here comes the second one. A nasty tackle. Sees the second yellow. Eventually, when Buckner gets to his feet, it's a second booking, and he's off in the 36th minute.
Takes so much air out of the game. And then Alfaro would essentially grant a lifeline to Ventura County.
And that's his second yellow, and so Alfaro makes that challenge when he doesn't need to. Eventually, a referee remembers that he's already on a booking, checks the number, says, oh yeah, that's right, you're on one. So now we're all level. It's still 2-0, back to 10 men, and this match really had a moment where it could have changed. Karani could have scored to make it 2-1 after a breakaway. Doesn't do it, and then within 5 minutes, El Paso go the other way. They get a 3-on-2. Good disguise from Moshaman to be able to hide where he was going to go with it. The ball's going to find its way to Cabrera at the back post. 3-0, good night. El Paso on to the third round.
Well, Jamie, some would say it was fun. Others, well, you know. For Jamie Watson, our entire team in LA and beyond, Mike Watts saying thanks for being a part of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. We enjoy it far more than you know. It finishes 3-0 in favor of El Paso Locomotive. On to the third round. The draw tomorrow, 1 Eastern on the Golazo Network. Until then, so long, everyone. Good night.